welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living Bellingham. So glad you're joining us here in person. Yay! And also, for those of you listening on the live stream, welcome. We're so glad you're joining us. Right now, I'm going to send you right over to our incredible music team, and we'll have some music. And I have a feeling we need to stand up for this one.
All right, well, this is a fun one. Let's sing In the Name of Love together. 1, 2. In the name of love, with a heart of grace, overflow in us, decorate this place. As it is below, so it is above. May we always stand in the name of love. When the veil is gone, there's only one of us, only one, in the name of love. When the day is done, we will sing this song all as one, in the name of love, in the name of love. May we always be seeking out the best till we are free, living in a world we've been dreaming of, where we stand as one, in the name of love. When the veil is gone, there's only one of us, only one, in the name of love. When the day is done, we will sing this song all as one, in the name of love, in the name of love. In the name of love, in the name of love. In the name of love, in the name of love. Sing it again. In the name of love, in the name of love. In the name of love, in the name of love. Well, good morning, beautiful Bellingham. Those of you tuning in, take a minute to greet those beautiful neighbors out there. Yeah, we're ready. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. soul is welcome here. My 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 soul is welcome here.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Andrea Wood, and I'm the practitioner of the day, along with Heidi Ruth Dietrich. And I want to welcome you all here today. Please join me in prayer. Join me in the knowing that there is one life living itself as everything in the manifest world. Its nature is love, peace, wholeness, and wonder. This one amazing life lives itself unconditionally throughout all of creation, and I am a divine expression of this one life, one point of light in a sea of light that is all of humanity. As this is true for me, it is true for all. So I am grounded in spirit, rooted. And in this connectedness, I have true freedom, true spiritual freedom. Despite outside circumstances and personal adversities in my life, I have freedom. And in this freedom, I have compassion for myself and for others, an inner ease. I have trust and faith as I walk this path, knowing that I am not alone. So as I turn my thoughts to this day, I celebrate our spiritual community that we have come together to deepen our understanding and to grow in wisdom. I'm so appreciative of CSL Bellingham, and I release my word in trust, knowing it is done, and so it is.
Thank you, thank you. So I'd like to invite any of our kids up this morning. Come on up. They know. Come on up. And I'll continue to let you know about our wonderful teachers. We have Georgia and Lily today, and that's these two wonderful. These were the two that I first hired, and they're both very tall, and I was like, okay. And they are doing the elementary school, which is our K through 5th, 6th grade, up to about age 12, 11-ish. And then Joe, and I think you have a helper today. Kayla, oh, there you are. You were hidden by the podium. They're doing the middle school, which is 6th through 8th grade. So now you know, guys, where you're going to go. And we have these incredible bells. And I wonder if you'd like to take one, pass it down. And we're going to sing a song that goes along with our nature and mindfulness program that Amber's brought to us.
All right, well, this is a fun one for everyone to sing. Hooray for the world, I'm glad to be on it. Hooray for the world, I'm glad to be on it. Hooray for the world, it's a special place. We got Mother Nature and the human race. Hooray for the world, I'm glad to be on it. Hooray for the world, I'm glad to be on it. Hooray for the world, it's a special place. We got Mother Nature and the human race. The world's got trees and bumblebees, rivers and lakes and the open seas, mountains and valleys and animals too, and a sun that shines on me and you. Sing! Hooray for the world, I'm glad to be on it. Hooray for the world, I'm glad to be on it. Hooray for the world, it's a special place. We got Mother Nature. Sing hooray! Hooray for the world, I'm glad to be on it. for the world. I'm glad to be on it. Hooray for the world, it's a special place. We got Mother Nature and the human race.
All right, everybody, have a great time.
You all have a good time in your program today, and we'll see you a little bit later.
All right, have fun. Off you go. Let's go.
Well, hooray for the world.
Yeah.
I don't know how you can't smile during that song, right? It's not often we just sing hooray. We should be singing hooray more, perhaps. So we're going to move into some musical meditation together. I am whole. 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 All I need. All I need resides in me. All I need resides in me. All I need. All I need resides in me. All I need resides in me. I am whole. 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 All I need. All I need resides in me. All I need resides in me. All I need. All I need resides in me. All I need resides in me. May I never lose my wonder. 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 be just like a child staring at the beauty of the world. May I never lose my wonder. 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 Wide-eyed and mystified, may I be just like a child staring at the beauty of the world. Wide-eyed and mystified. Wide-eyed and mystified, may I be just like a child staring at the beauty of the world. May I never lose my wonder. May I never lose my wonder. May I never lose my wonder. May I never lose my wonder.
Thank you. That's a song, I don't know about you guys, but that song stays with me all week. And I find myself making my bed singing, may I never lose my wonder. It's good. Well, welcome back. The theme today is True Freedom. And it's a celebration, of course, of here in our local area and around the country. The smaller cities are celebrating Pride today with parades and events. And so, of course, there's an acknowledgement of the beauty of feeling free to be who we are. And I wanted to talk a little bit about being who we are. And so I had these two stories that were warring with each other in my mind this morning. And a story from Italy won the battle. So you'll get the other story maybe next week. I don't know. We'll see. Stories come and go. But I was clearly directed to look into our textbook, which is the Science Mind. And we use the Science Mind textbook not like a Bible, but rather as a way of understanding what the philosophy has to say in terms of the spiritual laws that govern us. So I was directed to go to the Science Mind and to open it up and look for freedom. And on the very first page, there were 4 references. And as I continued on in the first chapter of that, freedom came up over and over again. And so clearly, the founder of this philosophy wanted people to take the understanding of the spiritual laws that we learn about and apply them in such a way that we're more and more free in our lives, in ourselves. And so I thought that was wonderful. And, you know, I just returned last night from Ashland, Oregon, which is where I did my undergraduate degree. And Joe and I went down to visit some really dear friends. And I love traveling with Joe because he's way more extroverted than I am. And we took a shuttle from the airport to Ashland. And if it was just me traveling, I would have been just fine, just sort of like being in myself with my mask on, not saying a word. But of course, he's making conversation with the only other fellow passenger. And this man is head to toe covered. He's got sun hat, sun thing on that's got flaps that go down. He's got a sun shirt. He's got, you know, long pants that zip, and he's got hiking poles. And we find out that he's being dropped off at the Pacific Crest Trail. That he did the entire trail last year except for Oregon because there were too many fires. So that was interesting. But what was really, really interesting was he had an accent. And so Joe said, "Is the United States your home?" Clearly it was not. Your where you were born. And he said, "No, I was born in Croatia and then moved here. And I'm a professor of mathematical engineering in seismology. Of course, this got Joe really excited. Anything with math. But the long and the short of it that I wanted to bring to you, besides now you know more about Joe than probably he wants you to know, but anyway, is he was talking to us about what he actually does with that. And what he actually does is he has a sort of a group of graduate students, and they go out into these different places up in the mountains, and they have extremely sensitive, like unbelievably sensitive equipment. He said, for example, if I had this equipment and you were walking toward me anywhere on the earth, but if I was there and you were here and you were walking, it picks up on it. And so we have to go way out into the wilderness so people don't screw up our data. And what he was saying is that even the waves of our ocean create these seismographic waves into the earth, like, far, far, far in, miles and miles and miles and miles, hundreds of miles. The instruments register the seismic action of the waves, which I thought was fascinating. And of course, being who I am, I immediately turned that into a spiritual metaphor in my mind and said, well, everything that we are creates these infinitesimal but felt waves of energy that go out from us and go into us, and we enter ours, so all of that is interacting. So hold that idea as I tell you this story, because this story has to do with each of us and our seismic patterns and what we can do if they're a little too mathematically unstable. So this is a really old story. You may have heard it because it's one of those stories that shows up in many, many different cultures. This particular version is from Italy, very ancient. So this is how it begins. Once upon a time, there was a shopkeeper, and he had a very, very good business in a small town quite some time ago in Italy. He had a wife and he had 3 sons. But one morning, on his 30th birthday, he went to open the door of his shop and found a corpse on the doorstep. And whether or not he should have, the man became so frightened that he began to believe that he would be accused of murdering this person. And before he knew what he was doing, he had turned on his heels and he was running off through the woods on the outside of town. He hadn't been there since he was a boy. He took off over the hills to the great road that led off to the wide world. This man was lucky. He took a job as a servant in a faraway city. His master happened to be a wise man who had taken the name Solomon. Every day, people came to the house, asked Solomon for advice, and paid him handsomely for the pleasure. The man worked as Solomon's servant hard and well for many years and did not once ask for his wages. The story goes over lots of explanation. Finally, this man could bear it no longer. He told Solomon that he must leave and return home. He asked him for his wages for the whole 20 years and said he would depart in the morning. Solomon was glad for him because he had seen the guilt writ large on his face and on his heart, and gave him 300 crowns, a great sum for all his years of excellent service. But just as the man was about to turn and leave, Solomon asked him if, after all these years, he was going to leave without hearing a word of advice from his master. After all, hadn't he been showing people into the house for this very purpose the last 20 years? Well, after a moment's thought and not wanting to offend his former master, the man agreed and asked for his counsel. Oh, good. because I have 3 pieces of advice for you, my good man, and you can have them for my usual fee. The former servant blanched, but felt cornered by the propriety and his own trained instincts to please his master. Go ahead, my good master, give me the 3 pieces of advice. First of all, said Solomon, pausing for good effect, you are listening, aren't you? Yes, of course I am, said the servant. I'm listening. Good, 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 said Solomon. Now give me 100 of those crowns for the first exquisite jewel of wisdom. Thank you. First and foremost, my advice is this. Don't leave the old road home for a new one. Go back the way you came. My God, said the servant, losing his composure, I gave you 100 crowns for this? Don't leave the old road home for a new one? You did indeed, said Solomon, and you'll remember all the better for having paid. What is the second piece of advice? Asked the servant, bracing himself to pay again and dropping a further 100 crowns into Solomon's outstretched hand. Don't meddle in other people's affairs. Leave other people to their own lives. Don't meddle in others' affairs? I could have heard this from any second-rate fortune teller for 100th of the cost. Ah, said Solomon, but at this price, you will remember it. Under his breath and to himself, the servant gasped, will I now? And the third piece of advice, said the servant wearily, now beginning to bow to his fate. The third piece, my friend? Asked Solomon innocently while he gracefully received and pocketed his faithful servant's last 100 crowns. The third and final piece of advice I give to you, my long-suffering servant, is this. Save your anger until the following day. The servant strangled a cry of indignation and repeated in disbelief, save my anger for the following day. Right. His tone was the 18th century Italian equivalent of, give me a break. He raised his eyes to the ceiling and turned as if to go. But Solomon raised his hand and said, but, I can't let you go empty-handed. Here, my good man, is a cake. Take it and share it with your family when you reach them, by way of a little homecoming celebration. The servant placed the heavy box containing the cake in his pack without pausing to look at it, called on his long years of dedication to the art of service, bit his lip, and thanked Solomon. Inside, he was seething. 20 years for this, he said to himself, 20 years for this. The temptation was great to say something, but instead, he moved on. Our former servant and shopkeeper left Solomon's house half angry and half bemused by his 3 gems of wisdom, and as poor as he had entered it all those years before. He wasn't long on the road home before he met a band of young and happy travelers. The man's spirits soon rose in their company. Along the road, there was good talk and stories and music and song at night in the inns. He really felt as if he had made the right decision to leave. But soon, they came to a fork in the road where his fellow travelers had their hearts set on a rough track up the mountainside. A night's detour to a village high in the mountains where an inn had been suggested that had good music and song. They made a great show of wanting the man to come with him. His mouth was almost half open, about to say yes, of course, when suddenly he remembered Solomon's first admonition. Don't leave the old road for a new one. He also remembered he'd paid a lot of money for that advice. 100 crowns. Well, I might as well just use the advice since I paid so much for it, he thought to himself. Thank you, my friends, for the invitation, but I have a wife and 3 sons waiting for me at home. I bid you adieu. He wasn't half an hour down the road when the man heard gunshots, shouts, screams, and the clash of weapons from the high road his friends had taken. My God, they've been taken by brigands. May God bless their souls. I'd be with them and dead too if it wasn't for Solomon. Thank the high heavens for his solid advice. A bargain at the price, if I say so myself. Don't leave the old road for a new one. Shaken and frightened but relieved at his narrow escape, the servant went on his way. But as the day turned into evening, he began to feel very uneasy. He had entered a huge and seemingly impenetrable forest, and there seemed to be no end to it. At last, he glimpsed a pale light ahead of him in the darkness. As he neared the light, he realized that it shone from a cottage window. Yet there was something distinctly unwelcoming about that light. Looking at the cottage made him feel uneasy, but he had no choice. So he knocked on the door. An enormous man came to the door, his face set in a frightening grimace. Without a word, he waved our traveler in and pointed at the supper table before him. The servant took his seat hesitantly and watched his grim host wordlessly serve him soup from a large bowl. To the visitor's amazement, they continued to eat in this silence until both their bowls were finished. Just as the tall man finished his last spoonful, the servant almost leapt out of his skin on hearing a muffled knock from beneath the floor. The huge man got up, growling to himself as he did, walked over to a corner of the room, unlocked a bolt, and lifted a trap door in the floor. In the light of the single candle illuminating the room, a ragged, misshapen creature slowly emerged. To his horror, the servant slowly recognized the shape as a blind, mistreated woman. The servant's mouth dropped open as he watched the tall man reach up to a shelf and take down a human skull. Beneath the servant's gaze, he slowly ladled soup into the upturned skull. Then he turned and, inserting a straw through one of the empty eyes, he gave it to the woman. She drank it without lifting her head. As she finished, the grim host lifted up the trapdoor, grunted, and pointed down. The woman half fell, half staggered back into her subterranean prison. In the silence that followed, the tall man turned his face to the servant and said, "What, my friend, do you think of that?" "I think," said the servant, about to give the man a tongue lashing for his cruelty, "that you..." But just as suddenly he found himself remembering Solomon's words, "Don't meddle in other people's affairs." He found himself saying that you must know what you're doing. You must have a very good reason. "I do indeed," said his fierce host, "and you may be the first guest in a long while to survive my hospitality. That poor misshapen creature you glimpsed was my wife. Years ago, she took a lover behind my back. I caught them both. That's his skull she uses as his soup bowl." These old stories are pretty grim. Disney kind of pretties them up, but I don't know if you could pretty up this one. "I don't forgive." The servant shrank back into himself as his host rounded on him and said, "And what, my friend, do you think of that?" "Well, I think you did the best thing you knew how to do. You are a very sensible man. Anyone who disagrees with me gets their throat cut, pure and simple, and then I bury them out back. Now let me show you to your room." The servant finally went to sleep, half in fear, half in relief at having survived the encounter with his host, and you better believe that he was out early on the path again. I added that part. They don't talk like that in 18th century Italy. Now he was almost home. He began to recognize the sights and sounds and places he knew as a boy. He hurried through the woods down the path along which he had fled 20 years before, Now, instead of fear in his heart, he had joy. He was almost there in the bosom of his beloved family, but even as he hurried, the light was failing and the shadows began to deepen as he emerged from the woodland path at the village edge. By the time he had walked up the muddy, deserted street of his village, it was dark. Through the well-lit window of his former home, he looked in at the family he had abandoned so long ago. He recognized his wife immediately. She had grown older, but she had so much of the beauty he remembered. Tears filled his eyes as he gazed in from the outer darkness. Through his tears, he suddenly realized that his former home was full of people. There seemed to be some sort of celebration taking place. He heard music, saw people taking their places for a dance, and saw his wife rise to join them. To his horror, he saw a younger man also rise and embrace her. Everyone in the room applauded as they kissed. The music started and they began to dance, embracing and laughing as they twirled around the room. The servant was beside himself with anger. All right, so he'd been away for 20 years, but my God, with another man right before my eyes? I'll kill him. I'll kill her. His hand instinctively reached for his dagger. He pulled it out of his belt and held it before his eyes, pointing it toward the lighted window at the heart of the man dancing with his wife. Now, he said, prepare to meet your fate. And at that very moment, out of nowhere, he heard Solomon's final piece of advice. Save your anger until the following day. Hearing that, he hesitated and his hand shook. It took every last drop of strength and willpower to sheathe the dagger once more. Save my anger until the following day. I will, and then I'll kill him. And he ran off into the woods and spent a very fitful night sleeping under the trees, determined to enter his house in the morning and satisfy his honor. He didn't fall asleep until just before dawn, but he woke again just after the sun had risen. Brushing himself down, he started once more up the muddy street. He hadn't gone more than a few hundred yards when he came across an old neighbor and friend. I don't believe it, said the neighbor, embracing him. After all these years, you return now, even as your son has just celebrated his ordination as a priest. His mother was so happy she could have burst. She danced half the night with him. Oh my God, said the servant. That's who the man was. I could have killed my own son and wife and been miserable to the end of my days. Solomon must be the wisest man I've ever met. He shook the hand of his neighbor and hurried up the street to his former home. And when the door opened, there was a profound moment of silence and incomprehension, followed by shouts of joy and welcome. Despite his absence, he was swept back into the bosom of his family, everyone talking at once, scouring the house for food for celebration. Wait, said the servant, here in my bag, a gift from my former master, a cake. He reached in and pulled out the heavy cake box. They placed the box on the table and gathered around. The servant pulled out his dagger and flourished it above the cake. He cut down into the cake and pulled out the first slice, and as he did so, gold coins began to roll out all over the table and onto the floor. When the astonishment had subsided, they counted the gold, and it was the true worth of Solomon's gift, 300 crowns, not a penny less. Now that's a great story, and I've gone over time, but humor me for a minute while I tell you why I thought it was important to talk about in terms of true freedom. You see, if you're like me, you have things in your past that you're not happy about. Maybe you're not happy about the way things went or the way you were. Maybe you were told from a very young age that there was something wrong with you, one way or another, your body, your mind, the way you were with people, whatever. Whatever it was, for many of us, like the servant, it's so frightening that we actually run away from our true self in an attempt to live outside of what we feel is broken inside. And so we spend years sometimes away from ourselves. And whenever we do think about those things, we're so ashamed and so filled with dislike that we turn again to the outer to try to fix what can't be fixed because it's inner. And so to experience true freedom, there comes a moment in most people's lives, if they're fortunate, and I hope you are, where all of a sudden you can't bear it anymore to turn away, to keep turning away, to keep living away from yourself, away from your truth. And so finally you make the turn. And it's not easy. You meet all kinds of ugly things on the way back. You meet the fearsome and the loathsome parts that made you run away in the first place sometimes. And this time, though, like the servant, you've gained wisdom along your path. And so you carry all that wisdom forward as you turn within to help you handle and understand and heal those parts that you thought were so unacceptable, those parts that you were told were not right, those parts that you've been fleeing from all this time, like the dead corpse on the doorstep. And once you've really made the turn and you've walked through the impenetrable forest of all that self-judgment and judgment from others, bringing the wisdom that you've gained over the years that you've been studying spiritual stuff, hint, hint, what you find is that actually those parts can be integrated in a way that allows you to move forward with grace. It's not easy. I'm not going to tell you it's easy. There are things that I'm still working with that happened decades ago. And yet, because of the wisdom that I've gained from understanding that these parts belong here too, that somehow they fit who I am, and that rather than running away from them, I can actually look deeply into them, learn, bring my wisdom, and transform myself, bringing them right along with me, you know? And you know, I when I read that story, one of the things as a therapist for many years that I always wanted for all of my clients, and as a minister still, is I wanted, when we finally had made the turn and integrated those parts and accepted that we are who we are, for better or for worse, but this is us, and we're the best of us that we could possibly be. I've always wanted the feeling that that servant had when he went home. Not the outer home, because our families are sort of wacky sometimes. Not mine. But the inner homecoming, the place where you see yourself and you love yourself all the way through, with bumps, warts, and everything, as my dermatologist likes to say. So how do we do that is the question. And everybody's journey is slightly different. But I'll tell you that I'm not Solomon. But the first piece of advice I have is to stop running. If there's a piece of you that you're having a terrible time with, stop running. Turn. It's not nearly as horrifying as you think. My second piece of advice is get help. The servant had Solomon all those years listening to all that advice. Get help. Find people that you admire and respect and use them. Maybe you don't tell them the whole story. You don't have to do that. I do that, but I'm weird. I'm not afraid anymore, you know. So you may want to just turn and lean on someone a little bit and get their wisdom so that you can move forward and not keep running. And the third piece of advice is the freedom you're looking for already resides within you. That's what Dr. Holmes said in those opening chapters, and I heartily believe that's true. We've been gifted with a power and a presence that is unlike anything we know in our personality mind. It literally is responsible for miracles unfolding, for healings happening, for things transforming, boom, just like that. And we all carry that inside of us. That's what our philosophy says. And when we turn to that and we allow that wisdom, that deeper knowing to infuse who we are, and we begin to look at the world from that place, we come home to the truth of who we are, which is, I think, what we all want. So I'll end rather with from a prayer, but from some words from two poets. The first, I'm only going to give you a little bit of this poem, but it's Antonio Machado. Antonio Machado was a teacher in Spain under Franco, an authoritarian dictator, and eventually he was killed, like so many of the poets of his day. And one of the things that he wrote that lives on is this. Last night I dreamt, wonderful error, that there were golden bees making white combs and sweet honey from all my old failures. And I've thought about that a lot, that piece of the poem. It's a beautiful poem. That's only one stanza. And I've thought, that's what happens when we turn and fearlessly begin to work with the parts that we were told needed to be rejected. Either someone else said it, first grade teacher, you're not ever going to be an artist, to your inner demonic voice saying, you just don't measure up, you are a failure, you are a blah, 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 and all those other voices, right? Last night I dreamt, marvelous error, that I had a beehive here in my heart, and the golden bees were making white combs and sweet honey from all my old failures. And then this last poem is, take it as a prayer. It's by Derek Walcott, and it's a poem that I had to think about a lot. So if you don't like it, I totally get it. When I first heard it, I'm like, what? But now I get it in this context of true freedom and turning and healing the parts that are asking to be healed. The time will come when, with elation, you will greet yourself arriving at your own door, in your own mirror, and each will smile at the other's welcome and say, sit here, eat. You will love again the stranger who was yourself. Give wine, give bread, give back your heart to itself, to the stranger who has loved you all your life, whom you have ignored for another, who knows you by heart. Take down the love letters from the bookshelf, the photographs, the desperate notes. Peel your own image from the mirror. Sit and feast on your life. Thank you. I tribute to all of you who have found yourself turning. So I'm going to invite the ushers to prepare for the offertory, and thank you in advance. If you are able to donate to the center, we deeply appreciate that. And we'll have some wonderful music from this lovely group. Amber was in Calgary Center for Spiritual Living last Sunday. Yeah, she's getting around, getting known. I think she likes us better, though.
Don't tell Calgary.
I won't. Hey, if anybody's listening from Calgary, shh, shh.
Do we have guitar on back there?
Mm-hmm.
Yes? Perhaps it is not coming through. Hang on.
There we go.
All right, 1, 2, ready. I am open to receive all the good that is from me. I am open to receive perfect love and harmony. I am open to receive abundance and prosperity. I am open to receive sing that again. I am open to receive all the good that is from me. I am open to receive perfect love and harmony. I am open to receive abundance and prosperity. I am open to receive all the good that is from me. Open to receive all the good that is from me. I am open to receive perfect love and harmony. I am open to receive abundance and prosperity. I am open to receive all the good that is from me. I am open to receive all the good that is for me.
All right. So you may or may not know that for 25 years I ran the youth camps for our organization. Katie was one of the youth at one point. And so it's been my dream to have our center have a youth group again. And youth is used instead of calling people teens for some reason. So we've been letting you know that we're forming a teen group. And these two wonderful people went to teen camp. And it's the first time we've been able to send them. So they brought a little video of camp, and they wanted to talk to you a little bit about it, and I wanted them to. So let's hear what they have to say.
So we have a slideshow that's going to be playing. You all hear now?
Yeah.
It's not on. Mic check.
Yeah.
Check.
There it
Check.
is.
There we go. Okay. So we're going to have a slideshow playing while we chat. It's some pictures from camp. We've got a lot more than that on the Discord, but I'll talk about that in a second. So we are okay with saying teen camp, as you can see by my shirt. Teen camp. We were at Camp Cedar Ridge, which is the new camp just purchased by CSL, and in Oregon. We were the first CSL camp to be at the camp after the purchase. Our theme was Resolve to Evolve. And my goodness, we had so much fun, so much work, so much emotion. It was amazing. And you can see some fun pictures going on up there. One of the favorite parts that I had there was my amazing teens. I was in the non-binary cabin. My pronouns are they, them. And we had some amazing teens there that just felt free to be themselves and to express as themselves at camp. And the emotional outflow was amazing. We did a lot of workshops. We had a lot of fun times, talent shows. We had a dance. We had fun. I'm going to turn it over to Jason to share a few words.
Just so you know, I didn't practice. So, anyways, what I like is about the camp is being able to express and share with others, and having them share with me and stuff, and the bond between even all the teens, even the advisors, everything. And as you can see, another part I love is just spontaneous things that can happen at camp, such as a bunch of people at camp from one dare wearing everything backwards. The shoes aren't. But yeah, just the spontaneous things, being able to share with others, all the love that happens at camp and is shared between everyone, being loved unconditionally and loving unconditionally, and just knowing it's a safe place for anything you want. Yeah.
So we are happy to announce that there is a teen program here at CSL Bellingham now. I am currently the only advisor, so if you are interested in working with teens, let me tell you, I'll tell you all about how we work with teens, because it's a lot, but it is so worth it. We're also having a parent and teen interest meeting. If you don't know how to get on Discord, believe me, if you're a parent, your teens already know. But Wednesday at 5:30 on Zoom, I'll be sending out a link for that. If you or your teens want to join the Discord and aren't sure how to, or if you're still uncertain about joining our program, we are currently meeting on Discord 12 to 1 on Sundays. This Sunday, we are going to Pride Parade, so we'll be there. But normally every Sunday from 12 to 1 on Discord. We also have a game night on Thursdays that we can tell you about as well. So our email is teenprogram@cslbellingham.org, and you can email me with any questions. That's also on the website. So thank you for letting us share.
Jason, is there a time limit on that dare?
It was supposed to just go through chaos.
Okay.
It was only one person that
Well, good on you. I know that these two will be available after the service if you'd like to talk to them today about getting someone you know who's a teenager involved. And one of the most loving programs they'll ever find. It's really quite astonishing and extraordinary. Don't forget also that we have a book study that's absolutely free that's starting on Zoom July 19th. Can't believe I'm saying that that's this Tuesday. And you need to register on our website, and then you'll have the Zoom link sent. The book study is on the book Cast. The Origins Are a Discontent, and it's a look into social justice issues and racism through a spiritual lens. So we hope you'll be interested in that and sign up if that's something you would like to do. Also, Heidi, one of our practitioners today, is offering this coming Saturday, Creativity is a Writing Spiritual Practice. It's called Write, W-R-I-T-E, from the Heart. It's totally free, but it is in person, so you need to be here. And there will be a Zoom link? Okay. Oh, you have to register on Zoom. No, you have to register on the website. Okay, so she's got Zoom ability, and we'd love you to be a part of that. I got to do this kind of workshop with Heidi twice. It is so fun and amazing and just really worth it. It's going to be from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on this coming Saturday, so do register. We'd like you to register for her sake by Wednesday. And then let's see if there's anything else that absolutely has to be reminded of. Oh, the office is closed this week. Right after this, my family and I are going up to Razor State Park. And I'm going to have a wonderful camping trip with my granddaughter that I don't get to see often enough. So the office is closed, and we'll be back Sunday for sure. So the rest of this you will find on our website, and I'd love you to look at that because there's some extraordinary offerings, both CSL offerings, but also many different gifted people like Renee over there who's doing gentle yoga, Tracia, I saw Tracia who's doing an amazing meditation, and so all that's on the website, and we'd love you to be a part. last but not least, we are saying farewell to one of my favorite live stream sound people, Erin Montgomery. This is her last Sunday to do live stream. She is moving back to her hometown. We tried to talk her into staying. We really did. We mentioned things like, you're moving in the summer to the desert. But she's used to it, and it didn't work. So if you have a chance, swing by and say thank you. Thank you, Erin, for everything you've done for this last year and some.
All right, well, let's go ahead and sing out into this day together. For the sun that warms this body, for the earth that we call home, for the love that knows no boundary, I am thankful. For the trees that line the mountains, for the sea of life it holds, for the source of inspiration, I am thankful. Love, light, life, fill me up. Peace, power, beauty, joy, fill me up. For the one infinite, divine that is and never was, I am thankful. I am thankful. Love and light, sing it out. Love, light, life, fill me up. Peace, power, beauty, joy, fill me up. For the one infinite, divine that is and never was, I am thankful. I am thankful for the sun that warms this body, for the earth that we call home, for the love that knows no boundary. I am thankful. So thankful for your presence here today. We'll see you again soon.